like nobody can believe, but I've been saying it for 3.5 years because we are the party of common sense. We really know what's going on. And coming out of jails, murderers at levels that nobody thought possible. And it was all done by Comrade Kamala Harris. Our great border czar, who's incompetent, who's totally incompetent, and 245,000 criminals, but much more than 13,000 convicted murderers who were in jail. They were all released into our country, and we can't put up with this. This is gross incompetence, and let's get back to the show, okay? Get back to the show, right?
Absolutely. And, Mr. President, I've got to tell you, they have been having a great time. While they've been waiting for you, they've been singing, they've been talking, and I know we've got some questions tonight. And, Nico, you're first up. Let's have at it.
Come on.
Good evening, Mr. President.
Hello, Nico.
My name is Nico. I'm from Plymouth, Michigan. Last week, I was laid off at Detroit Diesel. I was an assembler on the line, building diesel engines made in the USA. And my question is about immigration. Illegal immigrants are hurting American workers like me who are just starting off. How will you stop this invasion?
Well, very easy. We're going to close the wall. We're going to close the border. You know, I built hundreds of miles. Nico, I built hundreds of miles of wall and did it well. And we had the best numbers we ever had 4 years ago, and now we have the worst numbers in the history of the world, not just this country. At least 21 million people came in during their term. And as we just said, a lot of them are real bad people, real rough people. But they're also taking a lot of jobs from Americans, probably happened with you. And as the small number of jobs they created were all taken by illegal immigrants in the last short period of time. And we're going to make that change. You look like it'd be great. I'd like to have you make the motor, the engine, the motor of my car any day of the week. I'll bet you did a great job. I'll bet he did a great job. But we're going to bring the automobile business back to this area where it started, and we're going to bring it back at levels that have never been seen before. We're going to be lowering taxes. We're going to be doing a lot of things, but we're lowering taxes. We're going to use tariffs very, very wisely. You know, our country in the 1890s was probably, Marcia, probably the wealthiest it ever was because it was a system of tariffs. And we had a president, you know, McKinley, right? You remember Mount McKinley, and then they changed the name. But one of those things, he was really a very good businessman, and he took in billions of dollars at the time, which today it's always trillions, but then it was billions and probably hundreds of millions. But we were a very wealthy country, and we're going to be doing that now. We're going to do it where we keep, you know, there are enemies and our friends, too. They've taken advantage of us for years on trade, and year by year, all the time, we're losing our companies that make our cars, make the autos. A lot of them are going to Mexico now, and it's Mexico through China because China owns the factories. They're building big factories. They wouldn't have done it with me. They're building big factories, the biggest in Mexico, and they think they're going to make the cars and sell them in and close up Detroit, close up everything in this area, close up South Carolina, and it's not going to happen because we're going to put very heavy tariffs on those cars coming across the border, and we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let it happen. So what we're saying is, Nico, we're going to have these companies that want to build in Mexico, they want to build in China, if they want to do business in the United States, they have to make their product, whether it's a car or anything else. We want them to make their product, have their plant in the United States. This way we employ our people, like Nico, we're going to employ you, I guarantee, and we're going to do it very fast, and then we have to keep out the competition, and we're going to make fair trade by charging them tariffs. If they want to come in and steal our wealth and steal our jobs and steal our companies, then they have to pay a price for that. And we've done it, and You know, I charged, as Marsha can tell you, China paid hundreds of billions of dollars during my term, and I had no inflation. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. And we were just getting started, actually, but we had the greatest economy, the greatest employment for everybody, men, women, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, everybody. Young people with a diploma, without a diploma, people that went to the best schools in the world, got PhDs. Every single class, without exception, was the best they've ever been. And we're going to get that back and then some. So we're going to bring a lot of companies in, and we're going to have a lot of jobs, and you're going to have a lot of jobs to choose from, okay? Thank you.
That's great. Everybody appreciates that and appreciate when you talk about immigration, you talk about building the wall and making certain that we secure this country. Okay, Misty.
And by the way, we built more wall than I said I was going to build, and then we had 200 miles of wall ready to go. It was all fabricated, all made to the highest specifications of Border Patrol and ICE, and it was all set. And then we got more votes than any sitting president has ever gotten by far. And they say we lost the election. So let's leave it at this. You know what? We have one coming up in 39 days, so that'll be a wonderful replacement. Wonderful replacement.
Absolutely. All right. Misty.
Good evening, President Trump.
I wasn't sure. She reminded me when I was in the debate with crooked Hillary Clinton. She got up and she started walking around, and I said, "What's going on up here?" Go ahead. I didn't know you were going for such a beautiful young lady. Go ahead, please.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, President Trump.
Good evening.
My name's Misty. I proudly build the Ford Broncos and Rangers. Yeah! I've been with Ford for 25 years. If I'm going to be honest with you, I'm sorry. I was not for you in the beginning. But my son told me I sounded ignorant and I needed to educate myself on you.
That's good.
True.
That's what we like. Where is he? Where is he? Is he here?
No,
Well, you say, "I love your son." I think it's good.
He said just get his autograph. Anyway,
Yeah,
so I took the challenge on, and I'm proud to say that I'm voting for you again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
My question for you is, I'm a single mom of 5, and becoming difficult to afford, the basics. So can you please tell me what you're going to do to lower the prices for us?
Yeah, so what we have to do, because the prices are so high, thank you, darling, very much. It's a great question. People are hurt by the cost of groceries, the cost of everything. There's nothing less expensive. If you go back 4 or 5 years, everything was just a fraction of what it is now. And they're making essentially, if they make the same wages, they're getting wiped out because prices are up 50, 60, 70% for a lot of things. For some items, it's much more than that. Well, look at interest rates. They were 2%, now they're 10%, but at 10% you can't get the money. At 2%, there was plenty of money for everybody for buying a house, et cetera, et cetera. But when you look at groceries, I think it's the thing that really, I always say this is an election that I used to say determined by the stomach. Actually, I don't believe that anymore. I think it's now determined by the brain, because nobody wants to have criminals pouring into our country. Nobody wants to have any of these horrible things that are happening to our country. But we're going to be bringing them down, and it's going to start with energy. We're going to drill, baby, drill. Energy's coming way down. Energy's coming way down, and when energy comes down, everything else follows. That's what started this onslaught of inflation, that the greatest we've ever had in our country. We had the greatest inflation over the last, and it actually, we had almost no inflation. And that carried on for 2 years into there. I used to say his, now I say there, but nobody even really knows who our president is. If you want to know who's our president, who is he?